Welcome back to Dark Corner Studios. Today we're talking about a subject that is totally not contentious. People don't fight online about this all the time. Everyone is in agreement of the best mics to buy for your podcast. That's not true whatsoever. That doesn't happen. People yell a lot. There's more punching and there's a lot of anger about this. Okay, it's totally contentious. I saw a man die once. He was dead all over a mic. This is Aiden Wolf. Time for my list for the top 5 microphones for podcasting in 2019. Now, I get it. You probably disagree with one or two on this list. You think your mic is the best. And you know what? Your mic is the best. All mics that are available for purchase beyond a certain price are going to give you comparable results. Don't get me wrong. There seems to be a certain area of price that you do see more returns per dollar. That's in the $200 to $500 mark. Beyond that, you have the law of diminishing returns. So the way we're going to do this top 5 list is we're going to start really low and we're going to work all the way up to the really high-end bad boys, okay? Let's get her started with number 1. Now, if you would have asked me last year, I would have said, go Blue Snowball all the way. It's a perfect plug-and-play mic. You don't have any worries. Giddy up. A lot of people irritated at that suggestion. So this year's number 1 is the Samson Q2 for $50. It comes with a cute little stand and an XLR cable. This is a mic that you can use as a USB or XLR connection, and it basically meets all your needs. For the price to performance, this mic will do you just fine to start out a podcast. And it's also one of those mics where you're not dropping a ton of money just to find out whether or not you actually want a podcast. Now, I used to say the Shure SM58. It's a great mic, costs $100. It's world-renowned. You can hammer a nail with it. It's one of those microphones that musicians use on stage because it's just a great performer time after time after time. The problem, it lacks the sex appeal. It's not a very attractive-looking mic on a desk. That's where the Rode Pod mic comes in. Now, this is something I reviewed a couple weeks ago. If you want to check that out, I'll put the link in the descriptions and at the end of this video. But it's sexy. It's a tiny little short mic, and it's going to do everything you need it to do for the $100 to $200 price point. It's an XLR mic. The sound quality is fantastic. And you know what? If you're doing video along with audio for your podcast, which I know a lot of guys are doing, this doesn't look like the SM58. Now we're starting to get into the next level of equipment for a podcast. Now, this is also the point where things get a little murky with people's opinions. A lot of strong opinions for and against a lot of mics in this price point, because this is usually the price point that a lot of people enter into podcasting with. Before, I would have said go with the RE320. It's a great buy, great sounding mic based on a broadcast model, and it's only $300. I owned it. It was phenomenal for the time that I owned it. But once again, much like the last stage, there's a new player in the game. This time it has to go to the Rode Procaster. This thing's just a little over $200. You still get the styling and the audio quality is phenomenal. Now, you're still spending the $200 and some odd to get this microphone, but you're getting the sexy look. And Rode is good for that. They're really paying attention to people who want both video and audio options with their microphones. But it also has the internal shock mount and the internal pop filter that make this thing so great. If you're looking at the RE320 or the RE20, you have to buy those separate and they aren't cheap. So this is why this makes it the perfect microphone for the $200 to $300 mark. We can beat around the bush. We can bring up other mics. There has never been and never will be, as far as I'm concerned, a mic to knock off the SM7B. This is a legendary mic that's known for bringing out the best in almost everyone's voice. It's been used by recording artists for years, and lately, it seems to be on the desk of every YouTuber and major podcaster out there. I'm looking at you, Joe Rogan. And all this is for a pretty good reason. There's a reason it's the industry standard. It is just a lights out, amazing microphone. You might be wondering, why did I price this between the 5 and 6 when the cost of it is usually $3.99? Well, a podcaster doesn't necessarily go out and buy one of these without a cloud lifter or a FET. That's because most podcasters don't have the push to be able to get the sound out of this microphone that they need. So if you're going to buy it, plan accordingly. And finally, the I have more money than I know what to do with and I'm a god at podcasting podcaster or godcaster. If this is you, the world is your oyster. Why are you even here? You know what you need to buy. Just throw money at a microphone and bring something home that's going to accentuate your voice. But I do have to warn you, once you pass $500, there's a lot of diminishing returns when it comes to microphones. And this goes for a lot of things, not just microphones, meaning the difference between a $100 mic and a $500 mic is actually quite vast. But the difference between a $500 mic and a $1,000 mic isn't exactly what you think it might be. It does sound better, don't get me wrong. But is it $500 better? And even goes even further as you get into the $1,000 mics to the $2,000 mics to the $3,000 mics. You're not getting that much more quality from a mic that costs $500 compared to the $3,000 mic. There are a lot of advantages to those higher price mics, but those advantages probably aren't going to be outweighed by the money. But that being said, you want to spend the money, and I'm here to help you get the microphone you want. So let's start it out pretty basic. For this price point, we find ourselves back in the broadcast standards. And for that reason, the Neumann BCM 705 is your pick. It's just over $600, but of course you ain't no fool, and money is no object. So continuing on. So we're gonna go with the Sennheiser MKH 416. Not only do you get one of the most versatile shotgun mics on the market, but this thing is a voiceover actor's wet dream. This thing will bring out every low-end note in your voice, and it'll do it all for a nice price of $999. That's without the shock mount. The nice thing about this microphone, if you do decide to just blow your whole wad on it, is it's a supercardioid, meaning it has a very small pickup pattern at its tip. So when you're talking into it, you have to be right on the money or your voice is basically going to be left out in the cold and you're really not going to be picked up much at all. That means it's really great for multi-person podcasts or even an in-person podcast interview. So that's it. Those are my 5 podcast recommendations for 2019 going into the holiday season. If I missed any or if you disagree with me, and Lord knows there's going to be a bunch of people that do, let me know down in the comments. Let me know what your favorite mic is, what the price point is, and why I should have picked it over any of these. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you in a couple days.